Hi, I'm Empress Rose and welcome to our collective reading. To start off this reading, we're going to be looking at the goddesses. Here's the deck right here. I'm going to, bottom of the deck, Revelation, Confirmation. So someone's getting a yes here already. But mostly this is goddesses, so yes. So I like to spread out this deck like a dealer at a casino, and then pick from the back. All right, let's see what we have here. We have Tara, Serenity, Meditation, and Freya, Free Spirit. Friday. Friday lady, Free Spirit, Chariot, Carrot, towed or pulled by two black cats, towed. Sounds like another broken down car, which has been different things like that. You know, we've gotten the Chariot recently, lately, but each time we get the Chariot, there's something sort of dysfunctional about it. So Free Spirit, free to go, make sure you're acting independently. You can go where you want to go. You can do what you want to do. And I guess this is coming in as sort of an affirmation of that you're free to go to places, you're free to go away from places. There's freedom here. So making sure that you're reminding yourself of that and you're accessing freedom where you do have it. There are areas, even if you're very limited, having freedom of your own thoughts, freedom of your own perception, all of that is very important to keep in mind. And then we have Tara, Serenity, also having to do with sexuality, the Kundalini energy, the chakras. This also talks to me about meditation and accessing, our intuition through that, also accessing higher knowledge through the meditation process. It says serenity, but we're not necessarily in pursuit of serenity. There are all sorts of different meditations, and I have this reminds me of Tara Brach, one of my favorite guided meditations on YouTube, and I have some of her meditations I have a playlist on my channel here of meditations that I think are pretty helpful for a majority of people, and Tara Brach is definitely one of them. I really love her meditations. She has 10-minute, 20-minute, 30-minute meditations, and they just keep getting better, each one she puts out. But there are a couple, there's the emptying your mind meditation, and then there's visualization meditations and all sorts of different conceptual meditations and all sorts of things like that. So you can find a meditation that works for you. But yeah, I just want to recommend Tara Brach, actually. All right. And then these guys have gotten a little sticky, and this is the only way I can do these ones. So Tara and Freya are with us right now. The weavers know that all is God. Oh, that feels really good. It's a really beautiful message and feels very relaxing for me. The weavers know that all is God. Everything is interconnected. We are all spiritual beings. We are all interconnected. The eyes seem really important here. How we see things. How we see things, how we see negative things, how we see positive things, how we compare and contrast those things. There's an all-encompassing universal intelligence, or the universe, the divine, that is within everything. So it's reminding me of this tarot card, the Namaste, the divine in me recognizes and honors the divine in you. So we're being reminded of that right now, that there's a little bit of holiness and magic in everything. And when you feel the magic sing, look, we got 2 whales. Very deep emotional work. There's also something about whales, about bringing things up from the deep, about deep spiritual, emotional, psychological truths and connections and communication with deeper communications with other beings. I'm hearing like whale song and communication with like animals, or like an emotional communication, but it's like hard to understand. I was seeing this with the Weavers know that all is God, is that there's very different ways of seeing things, and it's very difficult to honor those different ways, because it's not your way of doing something or your way of seeing something. So it seems like it is going to be very important in the week ahead to really feel like connected to your own vision, free to, there's some sort of freedom here, like free to see things from other people's point of view, free to engage with something, free to honor the kernels of truth in other people's belief systems. And then when you feel the magic sing is all about, to me, a moment that arises, a moment that comes up with, and you know it, and there's an intuition here, and it may not make sense to you. You may not understand why you're saying that or why you're doing that. And that's not just to say we just go blah, blah, blah. And I don't know, I guess it was my intuition that just totally insulted you. But it's more like this, there's a moment here, I want to say, of harmonizing. There's a moment of very different beings. Again, there's like this connection and this communication between very different beings coming in here, both deeply emotional, although one is both sort of the slow moving energy again. Because again, we have our little space turtle that comes in from time to time. And I feel like the space turtle and the whale are communicating, but the turtle is more of a staying on the surface, a surfer. The turtle's more of a surfer of the ocean, and the whale is more of a deep diver. Yeah, there's something really beautiful to connect with. But anyway, this one, when you feel the magic sing, is about inspiration, a knowingness, a connection with something very different from you, something very different from you. And then there's this moment that I keep saying, there's this moment that arises where you know how to match that, or you know how to meet that, or you know how to communicate very clearly with this being that's very different than you. All right, let's go to the Muse Tarot. Cutting the deck from the bottom of the deck. This has to do with a night, with a person. A person, very slow moving plans, larger plans, bigger plans, big picture thinking. The nights are all about movement and action and forward movement, but this night is the opposite of the other nights. This night has more thinking without moving. So there's something that has been, someone's been planning something, someone is planning something, perhaps you, perhaps someone you know. There's a larger plan here with this person. They may not be the fastest mover on things. They may not even have communicated at this point the larger plan. This is dreamer energy, not doer energy, but the dreaming stage is very important as far as like envisioning and how to go about it, and what sorts of things you'll need, and what sorts of things that you can, difficulties you imagine you might be having, and how you can plan for all of that. And so this is someone with a larger plan. Yeah, it's a person, and this Knight of Materials isn't very communicative. about that, or they haven't communicated yet or moved forward yet. It's just a lot. There's been a lot of thinking and planning, and maybe this person has their spreadsheets out and they've figured out a bunch of different ifs and thens and what ifs and all of that. So there's someone here with a plan, a larger plan. Past. And I think that's what I'm seeing here with the whales too, is just I'm feeling the vastness of the ocean and how something as enormous as a whale is still so small within that larger situation, and migration patterns and all sorts of things with the whales. And there's something about that, like a migration pattern or a the slow-moving energy in these whales is echoed with the slow-moving energy of this Knight of Materials. So this could actually be just the energy too of some sort of slow-moving process, larger process. And that's what we're getting here too with the Weavers Know That All Is God. A much larger process is we are within a much larger process. So it's kind of like, calm down, do what you want. In the meantime, I guess, so far. Okay, so in the recent past, 4 of inspiration, present, we're just gonna have to start over because my pattern's all messed up. Okay, speaking of patterns and past, present, inner landscape, what's at issue, environment, to lowest possible outcome. Okay, I'm feeling that. Okay, in the recent past, we have 4 of inspiration, so a leveling up. It's usually a celebration. It can be an engagement card. It can be really a commitment card, and there's sort of a public commitment aspect to it. So it can feel like a promotion or a leveling up somewhere in your life, or a next step. You've taken the next step, and this next step indicates a commitment to the larger process that we've been talking about here. But this is one step. It's an important step. It was an important step. And it has to do with a whole path. And there was accomplishment, achievement, and with that came continued dedication and promises, commitments worthy of celebration, worthy of honoring. And there might have been like a whole group of you that went through something and graduated together, or there might be other people here that also experienced similar promotions or similar experiences as you did. So that happened in the past. A little graduation ceremony, engagement. There does seem to be some sort of like among peers, an elevation, but the whole group was elevated and went to the next level. Not the whole group, no, part of the group went up. And then in your current situation, though, we have 8 of emotions, which is a card, especially in this deck, it's about seeing something more clearly than you have before, and seeing that you're not satisfied in this place. Like maybe at one point there was a celebration to achieving this place, there's a celebration to this plateau that you reached, and now you're ready for the next plateau, or you're ready to make another ascension, another leap, because this isn't for you anymore. Now, 8 of emotions usually talks about being able to see something in the future that you want and committing to that process. 6 of Swords is more like just leave it behind and we just got to get away from it. We got to move forward. 8 of emotions typically means to me that you see something that you want and you're heading towards it. In this 8 of emotions, though, it comes really clear to me that there is a process. You are seeing that where you're at isn't the resting place, isn't where you're going to stay, isn't where you need to be anymore. So although there have been some leveling up, maybe you're just looking at the next level and being like, okay, I've spent enough time at this level. I am ready to put in the work, do what needs to be done, take the steps in particular, even though in this one in particular, in this deck in particular, there's not a really strong sense that you have a vision, you see where you're going, but there is a sense that you see that you can't stay here and you need to keep going and putting in work and doing the steps, and that this place is inhospitable to you now. You can't thrive here. And so you're looking, you might be heading in a certain direction. You might be kind of clear about the direction that you're heading in. But as far as what exactly lies there and what exactly you're going to do once you get there, wherever there is, I'm not sure you know where there is in this case. But I think there's a commitment to moving forward towards just moving forward and progress. There's a commitment to progress because where you're at isn't sustainable. For some reason, I'm thinking of like Vikings and like, well, this land is inhospitable and can't possibly like sustain everybody that we've made here and everyone we've created here, and we enjoy creation and procreation, and we'd like to have more people, so we're going to have to go find some lands that are more hospitable, and we're going to go in search of those lands, and we're going to get in our boats and we're going to go find them. And so I'm not necessarily, suggesting that once you find the land you want, you pillage it and slaughter everybody there so you can take their land. But there is a sense of like, this isn't sustainable. We can't continue growing here. So we're going to have to go find, some other place to grow. So that's what that's reminding me of. And I guess with the whales here too, there might be a little sense of like a ship or setting out across the ocean, not sure, where you're headed, not sure where you're going to land, but sure that you're going to go there, wherever there is. Okay, your hopes, your fears, your inner landscape. I love it when this one's really obvious. Like, it's a little more interesting for my brain if it's not quite so obvious, but this is 10 of emotions. You want success and happiness. This definitely talks about with other people in a group setting. You're not looking for, this isn't about something where you have solo success here, where you go out into your little shop and you make something all by yourself with your tools, and then you come out and you're like, ta-da, I made this. This is about working with other people and being successful in that. So it always gives me, especially this one, like theater vibes. Like, here we are, we're coming out for our final bow. We made this play together. Yes, and then also we would like to thank the lighting people. We'd like to thank the sound people. We'd like to thank and then the director, please come up. You're always behind the scenes. So there's this whole group of people that have worked together. I think this also reminds me of like a band or something where people are playing together, working together, and we did it. There's always, with this card in particular, there is the we did it, and it's we did it. Like, it's like, we, you know the word, right? We, and then we did it. Like, it's already, we accomplished it and fully and completely, and we arrived at a place where we completed this. So it's interesting because we start off with 4 of inspiration, where we made a commitment with a group of people to, or with somebody else, with a person, to grow, continue growing together. And we had already, the 4 of inspiration always reminds me of someone with an internship that's offered a job. And that's in our recent past. And maybe you're moving forward towards something, towards a group or towards a situation that you're hoping is going to bring you more happiness. So the 4 of inspiration, that's like 40% there. And then we want to go all the way to the 10 of emotions. We want full fulfillment with our group, with our peers. What's the issue here? The High Priestess in reverse. There's a lot we don't know. Yeah, that's what I'm getting with this 8 of emotions, because typically it's like, I see, I'm getting an intuition that there's something better over here. I see something better. I want to go towards something better. So it's more about going towards something good rather than going away from something bad. But here, this makes a lot of sense with the high priestess here. We either have like, I can see someone like a spiritual practitioner working independently that's given you a bad message or not a very helpful message. You know, we always say take what works and leave what doesn't. So some of the messages really can keep us in bondage or keep us trapped places. So that's why your discernment needs to be really high as far as like, is this really good for you? Is this message really good for you? Or is this one harmful for you? And it doesn't mean you have to bail on, you know, that teacher altogether. It just means that you need to know where you're at and you need to know your process. I think like there are some messages that are great for most people, but if you're in like an abusive relationship and you may not realize you are until a certain moment, but that's really bad advice, right? So it could be someone that's giving you bad advice. Or this could also be just like so much that you don't know and you're not actually getting a really good intuitive hit. You're not getting a strong intuition about what needs to happen, where you need to go, what needs to happen next. So with this 8 of emotions, I'm seeing you going like, okay, I'll keep going. I'm just going to do these steps. They're kind of hard. I'm not enjoying this process, but I do see very clearly that this isn't my resting place in this process, right? And we're seeing like there's this longer process at play here. There's a long game here. Our Knight of Materials is someone who plays the long game. So this priestess, though, this can talk about things you can't see. The High Priestess in reverse, things you can't see, things you're not getting really strong intuition on. You're not getting good or clear guidance on something, either from a person or just internally. You're just not really clear on something. And it can also be people outside yourself, other people, just withholding information from you. Intentionally, unintentionally. Usually there's some intention here too. So not everything's been revealed to you, and that might be on purpose. That might just be the situation that you're in, that not everything's, that there's just not a lot of known stuff and you have to just take the next steps and keep going in the direction of your happiness without really knowing what the destination is. This reminds me of Boyd Vardy's book, The Lion Tracker's Guide to Life. And he works, I've talked about him before, but he works in a preserve in Africa, and people come and go look at animals, and he has to be able to find them and know where they're at. So sometimes he loses the very clear trail, and he just has to kind of make best guesses as to where he's going. And he equates that to happiness, like where best guesses about what's gonna be fulfilling for you next, because you're not getting the strong guidance or the strong, and there might be like a head fake, or there might be like a red herring here, or if someone like walks over this way and leaves really strong footprints and then walks back over that way and like erases their footprints, a misdirection. There might be an intentional misdirection or just some kind of misdirection going on here. I know it's the High Priestess in reverse. She's not going to give me like a really clear, nice answer of what she's talking about. She's just saying there's some cloudy stuff you can't see going on right now. In your environment, you have the Fool. Brand new beginning. This isn't stage 4. This isn't stage 10. This is someone starting something totally new. There's a leap of faith going on here. This could be somebody else just taking a leap of faith, maybe taking a chance on you, maybe taking a risk. If there is risk here, there is definitely a risky step in your environment. There could be an opportunity. The Fool can be the call to action, where we we hear that first step, or that we hear the calling to take the first step towards some place we're not sure we're going. So where it leads, of course, nobody knows where it all leads. Like it's just, forever unfolding. So the Fool card here is this brand new beginning. And the Fool can be, it's a major arcana. It's an energy. It's not like an individual, but there's a brand new beginning perhaps presented to you, like ground zero, like this is a 0 card. And it always reminds me of Kung Fu Panda's, like, there's now a level 0, or whatever he says when Kung Fu Panda's first starts his journey. So there's a level 0 here. There's a ground 0. There's a very new beginning, perhaps in a direction you've never considered before. So your current to-do list, 5 of Voices. It's time to make the tough choices. I like this. We have the meditation shown here as well. But it's time to make the tough choices. There's a sense of wanting to be in the right headspace, heart space when you make these decisions. You don't want to make decisions out of fear, but it may be hard to tell how you're making the decision, right? It's easy to say, don't make the decision out of fear, make it out of love. Make it towards what you want, and don't worry about some of the consequences or some, ruffling a few feathers as you go towards what it is that you want. It can be just, how we're often in between a rock and a hard place in life, and it just having to pick. Would you prefer the rock or the hard place? Because you got to pick one. And so making tough choices, but I feel like this is making tough choices. Making choices, I think, that resonate with you, that make sense for you. You're not, staying at a job because they need you. Staying at a job because you love it and they're compensating you fairly and all of that. Like, you're not making that decision because, boy, will people be upset if I take off here, or if I quit, or, who will do this if I quit? You're not staying for that. If you stay and it doesn't look like you are here with the Fool card, the 8 of Emotions, it's because it works for you, and it's something that, and so if you're leaving, it's also because that works for you, and that makes more sense for you. So it is a sense here of not worrying about ruffling feathers. You can always offer an awful branch. You can always offer an olive branch, although an awful branch seems important too. But you can always offer an olive branch to, or you don't have to be a dick about it. You can always be pretty nice about a decision that you feel like you need to make. So there is a decision point, and I think it's really, really clear to me that it needs to come from a place of grounded meditation, and not necessarily like compassion, but there needs to be some very clear-headed preparations before you make a decision, because it will ruffle feathers, and you need to be, I think it's hearkening also to free spirit here. You need to feel free to ruffle feathers. If that's what you need to do, that's what you need to do. But doing it from this really grounded place. You can do it compassionately too, but you can ruffle. You need to feel free to do what it is you need to do and take care of your own self. You are being called forward. You're being called into a new part, into a new place. And these readings can be big, small. Sometimes, tarot just lends itself to giant, enormous expressions. And that it might be a little bit not quite that big. Although with the Fool here, and then we're heading into the future with another major arcana. So we do have 3 major arcana here. And we have all 4 suits. So it's happening on all 4 like levels or realms, or there's something, everything's part of this. It has to do with emotions, intuition, physical elements. And then we have awakening, 20 judgment. The realization, and I love that there's a comma in this one because it's so much like something taking its full orbit, maybe even didn't realize this was coming back, but it's gone away. So far, you couldn't see it, you didn't realize it, but it's like there's something coming back. And there's like, and you're gonna know how to handle it this time. You're gonna know what to do with it this time. You're gonna know, because this is not, you have previous experience now. You know a lot more. So we have like those growth spirals. And so we're constantly growing, and in some way we're constantly coming back to the same spot and to the same spot. So every time we come back to that spot, we've grown, we've learned. There's just a lot here too about planetary movements and celestial things going on. So there's a return. There's a return of some moment or of something, and you are full of insight now. Like you see something very clearly. So this 5 of Voices has you making choices. Don't worry about ruffling feathers right now. That's not what we're talking about, is smoothing things over. We're not smoothing things over right now. There will be some feather ruffling. And then part of that comes into some sort of acknowledgement, some sort of realization of decisions you made in the past, perhaps, or of how you've handled this before. Maybe you've gone along to get along before, and there's a place for that, for sure. But this is like, once you make this difficult decision, all sorts of things you realize. And sometimes it can be like, you know, once you finally set a boundary with someone, you really start to see, you know, if they respect you or not, if they, you know, and I don't recommend testing or anything like that, but if you're just like, yeah, no, that's not going to work for me. And if they throw a temper tantrum or tell you you're bad or you're terrible or whatever, then it's very eye-opening about how the relationship has always been and will be, and how they view you, you know. So that's kind of what it feels like. Like if you make a decision that does ruffle feathers and does, I gotta have another metaphor, although we're about to pull feathers, so maybe that's what that's about. If you are making a decision that might ruffle feathers, it'll be very illuminating. You're going to see some responses that will show you, and sometimes those can show you why you didn't make this decision before, why you chose to get along to go along to get along before. You might be able to see that. But this difficult decision leads to like a revelation, perhaps an opening, and there are real world consequences to this. It's not just a theoretical eye-opening experience. It's an eye-opening experience with some concrete results or actions, or it's all together. That's what I'm saying with seeing all these, every single suit together, is it's multi-layered. It's a realization that touches the wands, our spirituality, our creativity. It touches our emotions, our feelings, our relationships. It touches how we communicate. It touches the ways that we communicate, and how we think about things and see things in a more logical way. And then in the end, it touches the whole reality of our life. So the 5 of Voices can also be, I'm looking at it now, difficult communication. But there is some confusion here about which way to go, because it's 6 of one, half dozen of another. So just getting clear. And I think that awakening too is also about, you will be clear. Like if you have a difficult choice to make, really meditate on it, and it will become clear. So it doesn't feel like a very complete reading. I don't know. What do we need to do here? Let's pull another possible outcome, because it just doesn't feel quite there. Oh, 4 of Emotions. Great. That was another great outcome. So another possible outcome is like it's the same as 8 of Emotions. Being not sure, there may come an opportunity, it might come back and you might not be sure. whether it's a real opportunity or a good opportunity. It might be a repeated scenario or a repeated pattern. And now you're right back in the pattern again. You're right back where you started. So honestly, these look like these are two possible different outcomes based on which path you choose. One will lead you to greater enlightenment, a new level of understanding, and the other one puts you back into confusion, return to prior patterns that have already played out again and again unsuccessfully. So there's just some confusion and debate here, and here there's like a lot of clarity. So I guess maybe this actually illuminates the choice. Do you want to have some new clarity? Or are you thinking maybe you'd like to go back into the pattern? Maybe there's more for you to learn there, right? We're in a spiral. Maybe you need to go another round and go another cycle to really see more and learn more. So that's a possibility. It's not necessarily a negative thing. It's just that you're not quite ready. You're looking at a possibility of breaking free. And this awakening or this moment may show you how to break a cycle, how to realize you're enough. But also I want to say, this is looking like these two right here. There's these two right here. And so into this confusion may come an epiphany and a clear understanding of how to break free of a cycle or a situation or a system where you've felt stuck. And with the awakening next to it, actually, I feel like there might be an epiphany on how to not repeat this cycle again. This one also, I want to say, comes with the message that she is enough here. She is the cup that she needs. She doesn't need a different cup, another cup. And I'm not sure 100% what that means here. I'm not sure why we have both of these harmonizing together. But there is a sense of this harmony. And when you feel the magic sing, I feel like there's somebody else singing with you. Or when you see your moment, take it. When you see your opportunity, take the opportunity. There's a moment of insight and intuition here, and I think that's where we're getting from here, and I think it helps you break a cycle. All right, the feathers that have been repeatedly ruffled here today. We're going to pull from this deck right here. I'm going to pull this one, and I'm going to pull a second one. Oh, they're also pretty. I mean, I can't really see them. Oh, no. That set of 10 can just stay in the deck because we're not going to do that. Finch. New opportunities and choices are opening to you now. Claim them. And I love that with the Fool. This is a new opportunity and a new choice. And it's saying take the leap. If you have a new opportunity that comes towards you, go towards it. Take the leap. That's your way out of this desert that you're in. That's the way out of this, is right. So she's in the desert and she's heading towards something, and it looks like there's a new opportunity here that takes her from the desert into a very unknown spot, which keeps coming up here. There's a leap into the unknown here. So new opportunities and choices are opening to you now. Claim them. And I feel like these are the old opportunities and the rehash choices that we've made over and over again. So this is make a different choice, make a new choice. So if you always go along with the group's plan and you never like how it turns out, you never like how it goes, try something else, try a different thing. It'll be very illuminating if you do, especially if people react very badly. Or maybe they'll react good and you'll be like, wow, I didn't really think that person was up for that. So, and then hawk, is this a falcon that Freya has or a hawk? Anyway, I can't tell, but yeah, I'm just going to say it's this guy. Pay attention. A powerful message is being communicated to you now. We got this last week. A powerful message is being communicated to you now. So pay attention to some kind of, maybe you're getting instructions, maybe you're getting, a powerful message. So someone is telling you something very clearly, perhaps emphatically. They're maybe offering you a new choice, a new direction to go in, a new option. And this is definitely pay attention to that new option. It could be your path out of this this desert that you realize that you're in. All right, I hope that that was helpful for you. Thank you so much for joining me here, and we'll talk again next week. Bye.